Revolutionary greetings to all and sundry, my people of Amazonia, my people of the southern Cameroons. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. This day, today is January 25, 2022. You definitely would observe that I'm out of my comfort zone. That is why I'm not in the studio to do this very important communication. This update is essential. It is important because it will help us, answer some unanswered questions surrounding the death of Barrister Kemende Henry Gamsi. He was senator in the House of Assembly of La République du Cameroun. We know that today is exactly 2 weeks after he was picked up at the filling station around Nkwen, at the gas station around Nkwen, and taken away in his own car, and then his body dumped with blood oozing all over him by the roadside, and he was recovered and taken to PMI, where frantic efforts to rescue his life did not yield any positive results. Ever since this happened, the colonial administration and the government of La République du Cameroun has uncharacteristically maintained sealed lips. It is absolutely uncommon for the government of Cameroon to not say a thing when such a senior official is brutally cut off. And so questions have been asked, and there have been a lot of calls for investigations to establish the, the cause of the attack on Barrister Kemende, and also to identify the perpetrators of that heinous act. But those calls have landed on deaf ears. La République du Cameroun, that usually would hastily come out and announce investigations, surprisingly stayed mute on this particular uh, incident. And that has begged for a lot of questions. Fortunately enough, there are people who decided that this unacceptable incident, one too many in the southern Cameroons, will not be let go just like that. And so I got information this morning from one of the actors involved in conducting an autopsy on the body of late Senator Barrister Henry Kemende Gamsi. And I was informed that he was not shot dead. There were no bullet wounds in his body because there was no entry and exit point of bullets. No, there was only an entry point and there was no exit point. And they didn't find any bullets at all in his body to indicate that if it were a bullet, it came in and stayed. On the contrary, they realized that Senator Kemende was stabbed, and they noticed that those who carried out the act were professionals because the dagger was buried straight into the left side of his heart, where they left him no chance. I mean, absolutely no chance of survival. And come to imagine that the perpetrators did not take him for ransom, did not ask for anything at all, and that they didn't even take him far enough. And when they also looked at his body, They didn't see any signs that there was a fight, that there was a struggle, to say he was trying to resist whatsoever. It was simply established that those who went for him came stricto sensu for that mission. The conspicuous silence of the colonial administration, both in Bamenda and in the central government in Yaoundé, is indicative of the fact that they know exactly what happened. It's indicative of the fact that they were already so, exasperated, tired, and had gone totally impatient with the media outings of late Barrister Kemende Henry. He didn't miss an opportunity to remind Yaoundé that there can be no peace without justice. He didn't miss an opportunity to remind the powers that be that the only way to resolve what is going on in the southern Cameroons would be dialogue, and where justice will reign, where the root causes of the ongoing genocidal war in the southern Cameroons will be examined. Of course, we have all seen a document circulating on social media being a letter addressed by Barrister Kemende Henry Gamsi with questions to the President of La République du Cameroun, nonagénérian Paul Biya, raising very pertinent issues that needed to be looked into and asking exactly what had been done. My people of the southern Cameroons, I take this opportunity to remind all and sundry of what I've said before, that anytime you settle for less than you deserve, you will end up with far less than you settle for or than you settled for. Listen, there is no amount of seeking to cooperate in any shape or form with La République du Cameroun thinking that they will ever consider that there is any need to see you, a Southern Cameroonian, a bona fide Amazonian, as human. This is why we drew the attention of all those political actors who are still flirting with the institutions of La République du Cameroun to the fact that it made sense for them to emulate the actions of our forebears who left the House of Assembly in Enugu in the early 50s and moved back to Boya and founded the Southern Cameroons, set up a government, and established the identity of the Southern Cameroons as a country. Those who all this while have continued to think that it is possible to play with fire and not be burned are seeing it for themselves on a daily basis, that as far as La République du Cameroun is concerned, this is their mantra: you are either with us or you are against us. That is why people like O.C. Joshua, I won't call him honorable because he is not, are full-fledged CPDM operatives passing around for opposition. These are people who exploited the naivete of our people for a long time, for decades, and deceived us that they were fighting for better conditions for our people. But when the time came for them to rise to the occasion, we have seen OC. We have seen OC in just everything that apologizes for the actions and horrible treatment of our people by the government of La République du Cameroon. That is why, without thinking, without waiting for any form of investigation, Joshua Osei mounted a rostrum and claimed that our valiant self-defense volunteers would have been the authors of this odious act. But of course, everything points to the fact that everyone knew that Senator Barrister Kemende stood for the people. Even if he was operating in the wrong institution, he never missed an opportunity to advocate better conditions, to advocate negotiations. He might not have called them negotiations, he called it dialogue around the root causes or the root cause of the conflict, which would indeed have given an opportunity for both the authorities of La République du Cameroun and those of Ambazonia to come to a table and discuss the terms of our separation. Therefore, on no account would Barrister Kemende have provoked the ire of anyone in the southern Cameroons. People would have been dissatisfied that he was at that institution, but at some point at least said, well, once in a while, or a lot of the times, he used that rostrum to say things that made sense. This is an opportunity once more for me to urge our people to be careful. Don't get into any form of collaboration, into any form of cooperation with La République du Cameroun. La République du Cameroun remains that despicable country that has only one intention: enslaving us for life and exploiting our resources for their own benefit. A word to a wise, they say, is sufficient. To God be the glory.